the recording started. And hop right on here. All right, get that. All right. Well, if any, I've realized when I looked at the video I did for the dogs that my window that I had on the right-hand side of the people carried over on the recording. So that's why I just minimized that screen a little bit. So if anyone has any questions or anything, I think the best thing is to just shout real loud until I stop talking and hear you. Somebody say something so I can make sure I can hear people.
Hello.
Perfect. Perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, I'll go through these slides and then we'll spend some time at the end to have some conversation or have questions and discussions about it. Zoom gives me 40 minutes with this number of people for free. So I don't think we'll be able to go longer than 40 minutes. So I'm going to pop through some of this stuff quickly. I actually will include, at the end of the call, I'll also email this afternoon to everybody who was interested in this, a copy of these slides as well. Because there is a good amount of information in this class. I've been wanting and thinking about doing a kitten class for quite a while, but just for a multitude of reasons, just hasn't come to fruition. But now that I'm full-time and we are about to move into our new shelter building, there's a lot of things that we can do now that haven't necessarily been able to do before. So one of the first questions could be why, or what is this? What are we talking about? So there's a veterinary behaviorist in Australia who is one of the world's leading feline people, so to speak, and it's Kirsty Sexel, and she developed a class called Kitten Kindergarten. And there is a guy in Chicago named Steve Dale who is very big into cats, and he created a version based on hers called Kitty K. And my idea is to use this class, the Kitten Kindergarten, as the basis of our kitten class. I've reached out to both of them, haven't heard from them yet, but there is also a person here in Tampa who some of you may know, Jacqueline Manura. And Jacqueline has also taught this class before, and I've reached out to her, but she is unavailable for an extended period of time. So right now, a lot of this is my idea. I don't know yet how much of this we're going to be able to pull off, but this is the framework that I'm going with. And I wanted to at least go ahead and get the conversation started and let you guys know what I want to do headed forward. Even if we take a much condensed version of this class, I think you'll see much of the benefit and some of the things I want to do going forward with our kittens in the new shelter. The class is only for kittens from ages 8 to 15 weeks old only. And part of that is the development period. This is that period of time to where they are learning new skills. They're still social with other cats, and they haven't really moved into a predatory phase yet. Because the kittens are this age, there is basically a health certificate required from the vet that ensures that there are certain shots and things that the cat has had. It is a class that it's encouraged that all members of the household attend, but there should be one adult who is the one that's focusing on the cat. But much like I do in the dog classes, I want the whole family to attend if they can, because the whole family is going to be involved with the animals. So if everybody's on the same page, or at least has had some of the same education, then hopefully that's going to benefit the animal. The owners will bring the cat, the kitten, a cat carrier, leash and harness, and a brush. And we'll provide toys and a litter box, because if the cat has to go, we want there to be that ability for that. So the objective of the class, and this is straight from Steve Dale's information, is to boost the confidence of the cat acclimate the kittens to carriers, to traveling in cars. Um, Steve held the classes in a variety of places around Chicago. Obviously, ours are going to be in the new shelter building, and we're going to have access, hopefully, in like the intake area to where we can kind of do it in that vet setting, so to speak. So there's going to be some smells that'll be unique to the vet area. Um, I can envision having a cold exam table, even though from a fear-free aspect, you should not do that. You should have a yoga mat or a towel on there. Being touched with a stethoscope, and also strangers handling the kitty. That's really a lot of what happens in this class. And if kittens experience it early on, and get used to it, and also get rewarded with yummy things like whether it's whipped cream or tuna or any number of very high value treats, it makes it a positive experience for them, and hopefully will make it easier for them as the cat grows up to deal with going to the vet offices, because the majority of cat owners don't think their cats need to visit the vet, don't need regular things. And those that think that or realize that they do, a high percentage of them don't take their cats to the vet because of the stress on the cats and on the owners. So that's one of the future benefits I see from a class like this. The last bullet on this page, if they didn't handle it in a vet office and didn't have that ability there, is one of the things that you'll see is pass the kitty. So the kitty gets handled by multiple people, and hopefully that will help that cat going forward. So other objectives to answer any questions about what is normal behavior and what is not normal behavior. Litter Box 101, much of this class really I can see targeted to the novice cat owner, but even a lot of people that have had cats in the past, some of these basic things can still be eye-opening. Oh, I didn't realize that kind of thing. Such as encouraging to scratch in the right places, how to give pills to cats, basic feeding information, grooming, and playing. One of the steps in the second session of this class is having a dog roam around through the class. I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. I can see the advantages to that. I can also see that going off the rails in ways that we would not want it to happen. But again, what I'm letting you guys or making you guys aware of is the structure of the existing kitten kindergarten class. So we may very well modify this for our own purposes and what we would think would be good for the cats. I would absolutely look to you guys to give me that kind of information about what you may think is valuable or this seems to be a waste as this continues to unfold. One of the things that Steve does in there is also uses a clicker and talks about shaping behaviors. I don't know how I feel about that either. Another discussion for another point in time, but for those of you who may be on this, who are part of the Cat Positive program, obviously it's a tremendous amount of fun to do clicker training with cats. So I really like the idea of this being in here, but I'm still on the fence about it a little bit. So the next two slides are going to talk about basically this is the curriculum of what was in the two classes. It was two 75-minute classes held consecutive weeks. And Steve, and this again is straight from Steve Dale's information. Why are we here? What's the purpose of it? He's got a video, called Brain Dead Cats. I'm not familiar with that. I haven't had time yet to go try to find that, but my suspicion is that it is along the lines of, if you don't do anything with your cat, they're not going to have that mental, their brain activity is they're just going to sit around and not do anything. But if you're involved with them and doing things with them, they're going to want to be more involved. That's my guess about what's behind Brain Dead Cats. I don't know. One of the things that happens is that each kitty gets a mock veterinary exam. So this is where the handling would happen during the class. I can see us having a stethoscope to where it goes through just like what happened in an exam visit. We would be feeding treats from syringes because that is going to acclimate a kitten to the fact that a syringe may be coming to the mouth. And there's, guess what? Coming out of that syringe is going to be tuna, for example, or something yummy to where the cat is interested in having that, or the cat gets excited when it sees a syringe, for example. But also, this is where the pass the kitty game happens, to where cat comes out of the carrier, person handles it, hands the cat to the next person. So the cat at a very young age starts getting acclimated to being handled by different people and also getting passed. Nail clipping and dental care. Actually, you know, I think on that first slide it said bring a brush, but it was not only a grooming brush, but also a dental brush, because in this class they go through and start acclimating of using a brush of brushing the cat's teeth. There's also interactive time for the cats during the class to where they can play with each other. Now, if you spend time with kittens, this is also the period of time to where cats will play with each other. After the age of 15 weeks, cats aren't as social of playing with each other as they are during this age. So that's one of the reasons for this period of time to be, the period of time in the class is 8 to 15 weeks. But also too, if you have dealt with kitties, you know that they are as likely to play with objects as they are with other cats. So in addition to having the cats there, it's much like, you know, we see here in our kitten room, to where the cats can play with each other, play with toys, things along that line. So that's one component of the class as well. But it's also a good time to be able to talk about body language and be able to educate the owners on, this is a good thing, this is the kind of thing we want to help the cat, want to give the cat more support. Explanation of leash and harness training. I absolutely love walking cats on leash. I also know that, I don't know what the percentages are, but not every cat will do that. But if you have a cat who will do that, it's a lot of fun. And I think if we start that process with kittens very early, we can have more and more cats that are great to go out on leash, which is wonderful for cats who are indoor cats. That will give them an outdoor experience without the risk of running away from the owner. Go through leash and harness training. The next bullet there, operant conditioning and teaching kitties to sit. We did that in the cat positive program, and we'll absolutely go through that. It's pretty easy to get a cat to sit if the cat wants to do it, as you guys know that. And then a period of discussion through there. So that's what happens during week 1 of Steve's class. And then in the second week, everybody does a show and tell to kind of show what they taught their kitty in the week before, and also discussion training, because I think everybody in this call knows you can absolutely train cats. Most people, though, aren't really aware of that. But in some cases, training a cat is more about what we call stationing behaviors, getting Fido to know, not Fido, sorry, getting Fluffy to know that if the tuna comes out, that means you sit here in this specific area. That, again, can come in very well as far as a vet visit. So many of these things are applicable to the vet experience. Big component of week 2 is the leash and harness training. And this is where I was mentioning that in this next bullet, Steve has a dog roaming around periodically in the room. I can absolutely, like I said, see advantages of that, but it would definitely need to be the right dog as well. You guys know that. Pass the kitty happens again. Play techniques, discussion of laser light and various toys. I don't know how you guys feel about laser lights, and I really haven't tried to address it that much here. I am not a fan of laser lights because I feel it is a prey that can't get satisfied when the cat's going after it. So there's this frustration when it ends, but I still also see many advantages of using the lasers light. So I'm kind of on the fence on that a little bit. Brushing and pilling is a big component of what happens in the class as well. And that also, as much as anything else, involves having novel items presented with a cat to where the cat's not afraid of something new that, oh my gosh, what is that over there? Hopefully we'll give the cat more of an investigative kind of mindset versus a fear mindset. And more discussions and answering different questions and such. So that is the kind of the overview there of what happens in the current kitten kindergarten that I think we can do some form of going forward. Now, when? Who knows for sure? We're going to have to get adjusted to the new building. We're going to be moving 10 days from today. The 20th is our last day here open for adoptions in the old building. And the current plan has us opening on the 28th, I believe it is, in our new building. Yeah, 28th in the new building is the current plan. So it's going to take us a little bit of time to get adjusted into the new building. Obviously, we don't know how COVID is going to impact this because these are classes that would happen inside. One way that we can create physical distancing in the class is to, limit the amount of attendees. But then how do we handle the kitten handling and such? So there are definitely some factors that we're going to have to consider. But everything in this class, you guys would be able to do with our kittens here at the shelter. So even if it is January, February before we could do these classes, it's the kind of things we can start doing with our kittens here. Thinking about carriers, for example, a big part of this class is acclimating the kittens to carriers. I absolutely want to start having carriers in all of our cat rooms with some food, with some treats in there, probably some catnip. So where the cats, again, are going to be curious, if they see a carrier, they want to go in there versus, oh my gosh, we're going to the vet. And those are the kind of things that I think we can start addressing and helping. Our current cats, even if there's a delay before we can really offer this class out to the public. Obviously, an aspect of when is getting trained on how to teach the class. I've done a tremendous amount with cats. I have never done anything like this class with cats, so we're all in a learning mode with this. But I can't see anything happening before December. That would be the soonest. I'm sorry. I can't see a public class happening before December. And I would also see us going through, I'm going to get to that in a second. But as this comes together, I could see us offering this class very regularly, during the weekdays, weekends, and maybe even some evening classes. I think a lot of people have flexibility now with the way the world has evolved, but not everybody does. So we'll need some flexibility in that scheduling the classes, but I would love to see them be done pretty regularly. And since there are only 2 classes, the commitment's less or half of what it is for a dog class, for example, which is 4 weeks. So that's my thoughts on the timelines as far as being able to offer this to the public. But I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to that in a second. In a class like this, though, you're really teaching people. You're not going to be training cats necessarily. You're going to be teaching the people. So that was one of the things I wanted to make sure that everybody kind of understands that mindset that you're teaching the people, but you're teaching them to teach the cats. And animals learn by association and reinforcement. So if we have the kitties, for example, let's say we're passing the kittens right now, and there's one with a little bit of fear. If every time that kitten goes to a new person, all of a sudden there's some yummy treat, food that kitten gets, that kitten is probably going to be more likely to tolerate being passed to the next person. And that's association, learning by association. This is going to happen, good things are going to follow. And that's reinforcement. We're reinforcing these good things. So And people learn by listening, watching, and doing. That's the three ways we learn. So in this case, you're listening to what I'm talking about here. You've picked up a couple of things and you're learning about this new class. But then in the class, if we were doing this right now, I would pick up a kitten and do something with it, show you, now here's how we would get the cat acclimated to a toothbrush, for example, or a grooming brush. And then the people in the class would start doing it with their own cats. So you explain it to them, you demonstrate it for them, and then they do it themselves. And those are the three methods, the three ways that as humans we learn. And those are all a big component in the class, and a big component of, or also a component in what the training that I would provide for you guys as well, of leading a class in a situation like this. Getting everybody up to speed on this. There would be a number of education sessions via Zoom, like we're doing today. They would be recorded just like we're recording now. I hope I started the recording at the beginning of this. That just dawned on me. I don't see anything that says that, but I'm pretty sure it's being recorded. And that way you've got the ability to be able to watch it again and again. I will absolutely go into a lot of background on the science of learning, because even though you won't go into those kind of things with the people in the class, I think it's important, if you are leading the class, understanding some of what's behind it and the science of what we're doing here. And everything in this has scientific background. This isn't Steve deciding that, oh, this looks good, let's try this. There's evidence and history with everything that's in this. I can see me leading the class with you guys as participants in the class, so we're all getting up to speed. And then you guys leading the class for all of us as well. I anticipate there would probably be at least 2 people in each class, a person who's primarily leading that session and somebody else who is the assistant. It just makes things easier, especially early on. I'm a big fan of having notes. When I started teaching dog training classes, for probably the first year or 2, I literally had my notebook there with me, and every class I would always go through to make sure there was nothing that I forgot. So I can see the same kind of thing happening with this class. So we're going to come back to that. So now I want to go ahead and open the screen back up so I can see all of you guys. And let's talk about questions. So I'm just going to open it up. You may have I don't think I have everybody on mute. So you can answer, there we go. I'm going to let you guys just go ahead and bring up or ask any questions you may have. I'll be quiet now. Somebody speak. All right, I'm not hearing anybody. So there we go. I heard somebody. Let me stop this. Well, tell you what, let me do this. Let's go to the next. I'm going to email this to all of you who are interested in the cat class. This is recommended reading. And one is a page that we have up on the Humane Society's website now. If you go to the shelter services, up at the top of the page, if you go to shelter services, one of the options now is training and behavior resources. And out on that page, it actually starts with cats, has a list of various behavior issues or things that people deal with cats, with links to find out more information on how to address and deal with those. So I would say become aware or become familiar with that page. You probably have got an email from Liz. I know some of you have already gone through the fear-free, excuse me, the fear-free shelter program. There's no charge for this. It's about 5 hours, and it counts as volunteer hours for you. I would highly encourage all of you to complete that program. There's a video that is on Crash Course Psychology on YouTube called How to Train a Brain. It's about 12, 15 minutes long, and it really, really is a deep dive. And that mainly focuses on dogs, but so much of that applies to cats as well. And then on Steve Dale's website, on his blog is Kitty K, which you can find a lot of information that I pulled from and used in today's session as well. So I will email this out to y'all, so you don't have to worry about writing that stuff down now. But let's go ahead. Yep, I closed the screen sharing. Go back to here, make sure I don't have everybody muted. All right, well, if there's a way to mute everybody, I don't know how to do it, so I must not have. So any questions? Here we go, let's unmute all. All right.
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to talk so you could know that we can hear you.
Good. Thank you. I appreciate
I
that.
read the same thing that you said about the laser pointers. They're great if you have a lazy cat to get him off the couch, and then as soon as he's running, then throw a toy in there so he can pounce.
There we go. That's good. And when it comes to laser pointers, I always like to tell the story of, we had a deaf dog, some of you may remember, as a white pitty several years ago. And I used a laser pointer training and doing the training with him. He got so focused on where the laser pointer was that he used his paws and he dug a hole in the carpet. So that's when I stopped using laser pointers with dogs. But you're absolutely right. That's a good example of, you get them off and then you give them some other type of prey to be able to kind of to satisfy that prey drive that's there. So obviously, I think there's a lot of value for this. I think there's a lot of value even for our kittens as far as the handling and such. And that's where I really think the value is in this class. You know, we may mill it around and decide that it's just one session. I don't know. Who knows? I think that's going to be the value of us doing it ourselves for each other and with each other. And we can see what works for our kittens, and also what's easy to teach. You know, some of this stuff Steve may have included because it's easy for him to teach, and for us it may be difficult to teach. So we'll see. So, you know, there's a lot of unknowns about how we can make this happen, but I think that it would be we adopt so many kittens out of here. You know, I know it would be very popular. And also, just thinking from the PR, I think it would also be I can see all the news stations wanting to come in and do some segment, come in and film something going on during the kitten class. So I can see a lot of different benefits, not only just from the animals, but just also overall from our brand. If I put on my marketing hat there for a moment, of being able to do things like this. But bottom line, so much of this is focused on addressing these kind of behavior things when the cats are young, so it makes it easier for them to deal with vet visits, because that is such a difficult thing for cats and cat owners of doing vet visits. And that's I think that's one of the reasons why mobile vets are so popular, is because the animals don't have to deal with all the stressors in a vet environment. And for cats, the biggest stressor is being in a new location, being in an unfamiliar place. And so just right off the bat, going to a vet office is going to be a challenge for them. And if we can get them acclimated or get them used to that early on, then for many of the kittens, that's going to help them as they grow up. So, and also, I think a good way to do more education for cat owners. And I always would love to do something for adult cats. I'm just not sure yet what it could be, but there may be a reason people like Steve Dale, who is really, even though he is both dog and cat, he is much more cat than dog as far as most of his teaching. And he's never done anything with adult cats as far as a classes like this. So Who knows? Maybe we can be the groundbreaker or the trailblazers in that as well. But what I will do is send everybody a link to the video that's here that we went through, a link to, and I'll also include the recommended reading page. So, because I know I didn't leave that page up very long, but it'll give you an idea to, or give the ability to look back at that stuff. And I'm thinking probably in about 2 weeks is when I'll have scheduled for our first class to where we'll get into a little more detail of this. My guess in that first class is going to be the information that I've gleaned and gotten from Dr. Sexel and from Steve and from others. Hopefully I will have heard from Jacqueline by then, and depending on what's going on with that, you know, since she has done this class before, you know, I may even try to see if I can get her to come in and start leading the classes for us as she teaches us to do it. You know, I don't know how that's going to unfold, but we'll see. So does anybody know her? Is anybody familiar with her? Jacqueline Manura?
No.
I've had another dog trainer in the area. That's the first time I had even heard her name. So I was excited then to learn that she's done kitten kindergarten as well, because that'll be pretty cool. And I don't know that anybody else in the area is doing anything like that, any of the other shelters. So we may be able to spread our influence even more to some of the other areas as well.
Corner the market.
Exactly. Spread the good word. So, well, thank you guys very much. You all know how to reach me, Glenn H. at humanesocietytampa.org. And if you've got any questions, anything that comes in, there are no silly questions right now. As silly as you think it may be, ask it, because it may make me think of something else that, ooh, I hadn't thought of that. And I will email out everybody the links for those, and also then invite you to the next session as we move forward with this. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.